Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality coming back with you today with an article from Red State dated July 27th, and it says, Exposed. American legacy media took favors from communist China. And my next question for you before we even get in the article is, are you surprised even at all? So let's just say we get into this. It says, this just in. China is not a friend of the United States. They may be a trading partner, but they are not our friends. Now, as further proof of that, we can point to evidence that the Chinese Communist Party may have been paying for complimentary news coverage from quite a laundry list of American legacy media figures. It says Natalie Winters is the Washington correspondent for the Bannon War Room. On Monday, with now less than 100 days until the midterm elections, Natalie Winters has broken quite the story. It seems American legacy media members have been taking trips, funded by the Chinese Communist Party, to China, in return, of course, for favorable reporting. So that's quite the quid pro quo. So there's a thread that you can click on in the article, which is, of course, linked below, but it does have a bunch of names here, and it says that's quite an assertion, and Natalie Winters has quite a list of names to go with it. Just so you know, Ezra Klein, New York Times columnist, Matthew Iglesias, Vox co-founder, Ronald Brownstein, CNN senior political analyst, Bradford Plumer, New York Times reporter, Marjorie Miller, former Associated Press vice president, Steve Clemens, former The Hill editor-at-large, David Rhodey, MS Now senior national security reporter, Jonathan Alter, NBC News and MSNBC political analyst, David Sweeney, former NPR managing editor, Daniel Gross, former Yahoo finance columnist. And the top two I've heard of. Until now, I have never heard of any of the other people. So it says that's just a sample. There are a lot more, and cast your optics over the media outlets implicated: New York Times, CNN, Associated Press, The Hill, and, shocker, I know, MS Now/MSNBC. What's more, Miss Winters has information on what these journalists, and scare quotes, as it probably should be, were treated to in China. And she writes in her embedded tweet here, it says, the access went far beyond conference rooms. American journalists were taken on curated tours through China, including visits to Chinese military bases, by the same network seeking favorable coverage. It says, note that a tour of a Chinese military installation isn't something offered to just any tourist. Yeah, that's what I was thinking as I was reading that. I'm like, you gotta be someone that they find to be really special, or they're trying to butter you up for that to happen. It says, meanwhile, Chinese nationals here in the United States have been remarkably curious about our military installations. And if you don't know about that, go ahead and click on this article right here to find out, because it's not very good. Just remember when I said there was a quid pro quo? Soon enough, the free tours ended, the legacy media figures flew home, and went back to their offices and their keyboards. Then, the payback came. So Natalie Winters' embedded tweet here says, then came the coverage. It says, Shika Dalmia published, China bashing is for losers. Bradford Plumer praised Beijing's climate agenda, which I don't think they actually have. I think they tell us they do, but they don't. It says Bruce Stokes warned that economic decoupling from China would backfire. It says there's a lot more, all of which you can read on Natalie Winters' Substack report here, and the link is right here where I'm putting the cursor as well. And then The Onion says, the China-United States Exchange Foundation, or QCEF network, also intersected repeatedly with the political apparatus surrounding Joe Biden. So is it actually on The Onion, or is that like just a thing? Oh, I guess that's just part of what they're saying, like peeling it back. Okay, I thought it was like the satirical site The Onion. I'm like, that didn't sound funny. But okay. So it says, okay, this is, as somebody once said, a big freaking deal. And I haven't seen anything about this in the actual like mainstream news at all. Just to summarize, the American legacy media has been penetrated and co-opted at some pretty high levels by the Chinese Communist Party. I'm no wild-eyed conspiracy theorist, but there's a lot of information here, and there are a lot of big names in big media, all of whom, with 10 minutes with a search engine, you will determine have indeed taken an awfully conciliatory tone toward the Middle Kingdom in the last few years. It's not just media either. The Biden administration was involved in all this glad handling, backslapping, and trading of favors, in which China was paying for a favorable coverage from the legacy media. And I remember wondering during the Biden administration, like, is this dude paid off or something by them? Because I'm like, this is just weird. But anyway, finishing this off, a couple more sentences to go. It says, describing what a shameful episode this is for legacy media, well, there just aren't enough pejoratives. Fortunately, there's a wealth of new, independent, non-Chinese compromised media out there. You're looking at an example of it right now. That's the end of the article. So I did see more of the names that Natalie Winters had posted, and I'm on X and I do follow her, so I did see the names when she posted it, or was reposted by someone else that had posted her thread. So it's more names than just what you're seeing right here on your screen right now, and the ones that I read off a moment ago. So yeah, I mean, are you surprised by this at all? Because I certainly wouldn't be, but let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.